Okay. So welcome everybody to today's presentation. Just a few housekeeping items. If you wanted to put yourselves on mute while the presentation's going on, and then feel free, you can unmute yourself. Larissa, would you like questions during or after?
I will at times ask questions that they can post in the chat, but I think I reserved some time for Q&A at the end, so we could probably handle most of those towards the end. But I'm
Okay,
going to be interactive throughout, so there'll be times to either unmute or comment in the chat.
okay, sounds good. So either or works if you want to unmute yourself or if you want to use the text chat, and Larissa will answer questions that are posted there. So without any further ado, I will introduce our guest speaker. So Larissa Popov is, I hope I pronounced that right. I'm sorry, did I?
Yeah, that's fine.
Is an intuitive business coach who helps service-based business owners create wildly successful businesses by blending practical strategy with spiritual wisdom. Drawing on her background as a former naturopathic doctor and spiritual teacher, you can think of her as a business mystic with an MBA mindset, someone who helps clients master both enrollment and energy work, guiding them to navigate their nervous system and transform their soul's calling into serious profit. Because of her world, your biggest breakthrough might just come from meditation cushion rather than a marketing strategy. So welcome, and we're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today. I'm just going to drop in the chat here a worksheet because I love fillable PDF worksheets, so you can take notes inside that worksheet if you like. Okay. So a couple of housekeeping issues. I'm actually just going to close my door. My husband just came home. Okay. A couple of things to get the most out of this presentation today. The first thing is to participate fully, and that includes having your camera on. Unless you're driving and you can't, please be on camera, because being in business is not a spectator sport, right? This is an opportunity to be visible. We want to be seen in the world. If we want to make more money, we need to be seen by other people and build relationships, right? So as much as possible, keep your camera on. The second thing is, if there's something that I say that you've heard before, I invite you to listen like you're hearing it for the first time. Listen with the innocence of a child, because you know what happens when you do that? If you don't do that, what happens? Immediately we just reject whatever we hear. And when we're listening with an innocence of a child, what happens? Another dimension of understanding opens up for us, right? Because wisdom is cyclical and spiral in nature, right? So we go deeper into our understanding. And the third thing is, when we get to the Q&A part or interaction, I invite you just to be concise with your questions, right? Like say, my question is blah, 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 rather than telling oftentimes we have a tendency to share a lot more details than are necessary to get our point across, okay? All right, let's get started. Fire is one of the most powerful forces on the planet, and prosperity is the ability to make fire everywhere you go. If we lived in caveman times, if you knew how to build a fire, you knew that you could keep yourself warm at night, you can protect yourself from danger, you can cook your food, and you can light your way, right? So as long as you know how to build a fire, you have a reasonably good chance of being okay. Translate this into modern times. Building a fire means knowing how to grow your business and make money. But what happens when you're in the woods and it's dark and it's cold and wet and you're all alone and you don't have a flashlight or even matches? I know what that's like. In my first business as a naturopathic doctor, I came out of school eyeballs deep in debt with a passion for my work. I was very good at what I did. I was very driven to do what I was here to do. And I had lots of letters after my name, and I had no idea how to make money. And at times, at the worst of it, I was living on as little as $6 a week, to now creating a six-figure business where I help business owners to create consistent 10K months, $10,000 months, as quickly as 90 days. So the world is a jungle. The world is unpredictable, especially now. There's a ton of chaos and uncertainty. It can be a sunny meadow or it can be a dark, cold, damp forest. But when you know how to build a fire in your business, it doesn't matter what happens in the markets, to the economy. Even if the business as you know it right now completely falls apart, You can trust your ability to always make more than enough money to thrive. And that is my mission, and that's what I'm here to share with you today. So I want to start off with a little bit of interaction. What are your biggest challenges around growing your business? You can just pop it in the chat. What's your biggest challenge? Hello, Tina. Hello, Donna. It's a nice picture of you. Would love to see you live if you can. Put your camera on. What are your biggest challenges? Why are you here today? Anybody? Having consistent flow of clients. Okay, who can relate to that? Right? I think that's a very common one. Where do I find my clients? How do I get clients consistently? Securing larger clients, okay? Like higher ticket clients, do you mean? Like they'll pay you more money? Yes. Wearing all the hats, billing fairly. What's the challenge with billing fairly?
Larissa, I'm just going to say, just from talking to clients that I've had, some of them say not feeling guilty about charging too.
Okay, not feeling guilty about charging, letting yourself receive. We're going to be talking about that today.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay, good. Thanks for sharing. Well, I think my instincts are on point with you guys because we're going to be addressing a lot of this stuff. Focus, what to do next. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to be addressing all of this stuff today, actually. Great. Focus is very important, and a lot of people have challenge with that. Okay, so we're talking about this metaphor of building a fire in our business. It means building a business, growing that money, having that sustainable income so that we can not just thrive, not just survive, but thrive and always have more than enough to support ourselves. So if we're going to build a fire in our business, fire needs three things to thrive. It needs the spark, the fuel, and the oxygen. And you can see that on the worksheet there. The worksheet's divided into those three sections. So the first we're going to talk about is the spark. The spark is something that comes deep inside of you. It's what drives you and makes you magnetic and irresistible. When you walk into a networking room, does everyone turn around to look at you? Where does that spark come from? It's the strength of your connection with your desire. And I'm not talking about your desire for a slice of pizza or for some ice cream. I'm talking about this undeniable, irrefutable longing from deep inside of your body. It's not a concept, it's not an idea, it's a calling. It's something that comes from your body. And it's deeper than your preferences, it's deeper than what you like and what you don't like. It cuts through all of it and it calls to you. We all have one. We've seen, heard, or felt that calling. And for most of us, we touch base with it here and there, but very few of us actually live inside of and operate from that calling. Have you ever noticed that? Our connection to that spark has the power, when we stay connected to it, to obliterate your self-doubt and allow you to stay motivated and enthusiastic and creative every single day. Wouldn't it be amazing if every day you woke up being so on fire and motivated to take action, to do the things you need to do, and to do it with enthusiasm? That's the power of connecting to that spark. So what is that goal? What is that calling that you're being called to? What is that desire? What are you being called to create in your life right now? That big vision or that big goal. As I'm sure you've all seen it before. You've had visions, you've had feelings. For me, many times that vision has appeared as me being on stage in a conference hall in front of hundreds of people speaking. And this was, decades ago, I was having these visions, right? So what is that for you? What is that big vision, that big goal that maybe you're not even close to that yet, but you're like, I can see myself there. Like I'm on my way there. That's where I'm headed. Maybe it's a money goal. Maybe making $10,000 this month in sales is very exciting and motivating for you. So whatever it is, I want you to write that down. What is that call? What are you being called to? Again, it's not an idea. It's not what you want as a human. It's what is my life calling me to? What is my life pulling me towards to realize? There's a big difference. And the next question I have for you is, how turned on are you right now by this desire and to make it a reality? How turned on are you right now by this desire to make it a reality, from 1 to 10? 1 being pretty cold, wishy-washy, not really sure I want it, to 10 being like, this calling is a force inside of me that I'm being pulled to realize, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to make it a reality. So in the chat, tell me, where do you stand from 1 to 10? How strong is your connection to that desire? So someone said, my vision is to be a best-selling author, course provider, motivator, passive income. Yeah, everybody loves this idea of passive income. I'll see if I can touch on that a little bit when we get to that point. 8, okay? Any more answers? From 1 to 10. It's important to be honest. If you don't want to share, that's okay, but be honest with yourself. Write it down for yourself. Because the thing is, when we're at a 1 to 3, it's when we're saying to ourselves, well, I kind of want it. Do I really want this? I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure what I want to do about it. And it's a sign that we're not fully connected to our bodies. It's a sign that we're kind of like floating. And we're not actively engaging with the vision, the decisions, and the actions necessary to realize that desire, right? We're kind of living in la la land, in fantasy land, or we're not really connected to our bodies. When we're at a 5 out of 10, it's like the fence sitter, right? I'm neither here nor there. I want it, I kind of want it, but I'm not sure if I'm willing to do what it takes to get it, right? That's the thing I commonly hear from people, is they want what I want, but they're not necessarily willing to do what it takes to have it because it's uncomfortable. And it's a state of ambiguity and indifference. It's a limbo state. And when we're in a 5 out of 10, that's where we face a lot of resistance and self-sabotage. Okay, because there's a part of us that wants it, there's a part of us that's fighting it. But a 10 out of 10 is like a warrior-like resolve. It's a conviction, it's a certainty. I will do whatever it takes because I was born for this. I was made for this, and I am here to get anything out of my way that is preventing me from making that reality and to realize it, okay? So the more you can be a 10 out of 10, the more you're in service to that calling, the faster and easier it's going to be to get to your goal. And it's this attitude of, I'm going to do it, even if it's scary, uncomfortable, and inconvenient, which it will be. Fulfilling your purpose and your mission is scary, uncomfortable, and inconvenient. Sorry to, break the news to you, to burst that bubble, but it's not all like unicorns and rainbows. It's hard. So the spark is essential. Without it, it's really hard to find that motivation, enthusiasm, and courage for your decisions and actions to catch fire. So this is something that I want you to look at now. How do I stay connected to that calling every single day? How do I stay turned on? I had to turn myself on before this workshop. I needed to get connected to my mission and my turn on so I can show up fully for you. And you need to be connected to your turn on and your desire and your calling to do all the things that you need to do, and to do it from a very genuine, enthusiastic, authentic place. So the second piece of this, that we need to make a fire, right? We have the spark, and then a fire needs fuel. That spark needs to light some fuel to keep the fire going. And that's your marketing and your sales. So do you have a strategy for your marketing and a sales process that works for you consistently? Having fuel is having a system or structure to run your business and make sales consistently. It's the gas, it's the wood, it's the material that grows the fire and keeps it burning. So depending on the stage of business you're at, you need a different type of fuel or structure. Have you ever heard the saying, do what you love and the money will follow? Yeah, I used to believe that. I see a cat crossing on a screen or something's going on. I used to believe that saying, do what you love and the money will follow. But a few years ago, I was running a multi-week launch and I was building brilliant content, creating engagement, sending emails. I loved what I did. I was really felt strongly about what I was promoting and selling, and I was burning myself out. I was miserable because I was just pushing and trying to get through it all. I was trying to be a good student and do everything that my business coach told me to do to make this launch a success. And by the time, after like multiple weeks of promoting, by the time I got to the offer, I had no juice left. And in the end, I didn't make a single sale, if you can imagine. I put all these eggs in one basket. I put all this time and energy and effort, and I didn't make a single sale in the end. Needless to say, I felt like a complete failure. And I started to ask myself the big questions. You know, some people call it a come to Jesus moment, right? Like I was really starting to reevaluate everything. I'm like, do I just suck? Like, am I cut out for business? Am I ever going to get anywhere? Like if I'm working this hard and doing everything the way I'm supposed to do it and it still doesn't work, like am I cursed? Like, is there something deeply, profoundly wrong with me, right? And what I ended up finding out later was, it wasn't that I was destined to fail or doomed to fail, and that doing what I loved wasn't enough, right? That was the reality. Doing what I loved wasn't enough to get the sales and money, but the issue was I was using the wrong business model. That was my problem. So when you use the wrong business model, you have more time, energy, and money and resources going out than you do having sales and income coming in. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the chat for the visual people in the group because I know I'm very auditory in how I'm delivering. So this is when it's the wrong business model. When you're finding that you're putting more time, energy, and money out than sales and income coming in. And then what happens? You feel discouraged, you get exhausted, you get drained. And how can you make money when you're exhausted and burnt out and drained? It's not possible. You can't create abundance and prosperity in your life. What you want to do is ride waves of wins and successes and have that spark light up this fire and then light that fire over and over and over and over again everywhere you go. So what you want is sales and income in abundance and larger than the amount of time, energy, money, and resources that you put into it, right? You want your sales and income to be greater than the time, energy, and resources that you put into it, okay? So there's nothing wrong with me. It was the strategy I was using. So to illustrate this, growing tomatoes is a lot like growing your business. So when your business is like a little sprout, I just started my tomato seeds, actually. I'm germinating them right now next to my desk in a little germinator. So when your business is a little sprout, do you put these giant stakes in the ground and tie it up? No, right? Because the sticks are so huge, they're gonna fall on the sprout, it's gonna strangle it and kill it. And when you have a very mature tomato plant with lots of tomatoes on it, you need a sturdy cage to hold them up so that they ripen properly, so that they don't sit on the ground and rot, right? So that you can reap the fruits of your labor and get the biggest harvest, right? So similarly, when you have I'll get into that in a little bit, but so understanding this is so fundamental, because so many times when clients come to work with me, even though they've worked really hard, put a lot of time, energy, and investment into their business, they're not making as much money as they could be just because they've got wrapped up in complicated structures and systems that aren't appropriate for their stage of growth. So if you're finding that you're taking a lot of action and you're not getting the results, it could be that you're just not using the right business model. So to give you an idea of where you fall with this, There's two kind of general categories. If you're a newbie business owner, you've been in business for the first few years and you haven't yet hit consistent 5 to 7K months, right? So if you're not yet making $5,000 to $7,000 consistently in your month as a service-based business owner, you have a relatively small audience. Your asset is time. Yeah, sales and marketing strategies are why I'm attending today. Okay, good, Tina. So what you have a lot of is time, but what you need is cash, right? You need cash flow, you need money. You need money to be able to finance the growth of your business, maybe finance the support that you need, the delegation, the coaching. I'm always working with a business coach at every stage of growth in my business because I need that support and I want somebody to fast track the process. But when you're starting out, it's like a chicken and egg thing, right? It's like, but I need money so that I can invest money, right? So you need cash flow. And what that means is, so if you're not yet at $5,000 to $7,000 consistently a month, you want to focus on high touch. So high ticket sales, having a packaging, a high ticket offer. There's lots of definitions of what high ticket looks like. In my opinion, I would say it's at minimum $1,000, but really it's like 3 to 5 and up. But you can play with that depending on your capacity and where you are in your stage of growth. But high ticket offer. So rather than selling dollars for hours, which a lot of people, especially practitioners, my background as an ND, we sold our time based on a number of dollars per hour. So you want to get out of that dollars for hours paradigm and start packaging an offer that is greater, the value is greater than the sum of its parts. And you want to focus on high touch strategies, one-on-one coaching, things that involve a lot of your time because it's a lot of value. Networking. Going to networking events, whether it's virtual or in person, speaking human to human, one-on-one. Offering discovery sessions. Again, it's a one-on-one conversation. You have lots of time, and it's the fastest and easiest way to make a high-ticket sale through discovery sessions, through one-on-one consultations. And that's what gets you money in the door in the fastest and easiest way possible. I know it's simple. It's so simple that we don't want to do it because we want something complicated, right? We want something that sounds fancy, that makes us feel like a professional. But I'm telling you, these grassroots basic strategies, when you have all the elements in place, mind you, right? Like you got to have a hot offer. You've got to have a really juicy discovery session, and you have to have all the elements in place that need to work. But when you do, it's amazing. It works like magic. Like it really allows you to create that consistency. So that's one category, right? The newbie category. When you're established, making, let's say, $7,000 to $10,000 consistently a month or more, you have a larger audience, you have more clients coming in, right? What your asset is in this case is money, right? You have cash flow, you have money coming in, but what you don't have is time. Then you're so busy, right? Because you have all these clients, then you get stressed out because you're like, I can't grow anymore. I don't have any time for anything, right? So time becomes your biggest limiter. And that's where you need to leverage your time and scale, which requires a completely different structure, right? You need that tomato cage. You need group programs. You need to sell from stage. You need more automation. You need to delegate. You need to build a team. So once I switched to the right business model, in my case, I quickly doubled my income and then continued to double my income year after year over and over again. Can you imagine that? Think about that for a second. If every single year your income doubled, your sales doubled, without having to put more time and energy in. So once you're using the right business model, it's like putting gas on the fire, right? It simplifies and speeds up your ability to make money. And it's about focusing your time and energy. Someone said earlier they want to know what to focus on. It's about focusing your time and energy only on what actually works and getting rid of anything else that doesn't translate into a sale, right? It's about simplifying. And whatever stage of business that you're in, whether you're a newbie or you're more established, becoming a great speaker is like the fertilizer that makes your tomatoes grow faster and in more abundance, right? Because when you know how to speak in a way that converts, whether it's in a workshop or a talk or on social media or even having a one-on-one conversation, you're able to attract more clients and make more money no matter what your business model is. So the third element to build that fire, what was the first one again? Let's review. Is everybody awake?
Spark.
Spark, right? What's the spark? What does that mean?
Your calling.
Connecting to your calling. Yeah, staying inspired, enthusiastic, driven by this calling that you were born with to fulfill. And what's the second one?
Fuel.
The fuel, which is your marketing and sales strategy, right? The business model that you use, how you're making money, how you're promoting. So business requires two things. The marketing part is the lead generation, right? Like, how do I go out in the world and take people that are total strangers and bring them into my world? And then the sales part is, how do I take these people who are in my world and turn them into clients, right? Those are the two main pieces of your business. So the third element is oxygen. Oxygen is everywhere. And similarly, your clients are everywhere, but are you everywhere? Someone said at the beginning, I want to have more clients. Well, clients are everywhere. Do you operate in your life with that mindset, that attitude? My clients are literally everywhere I go. Every party I go to, every networking meeting I go to, everywhere I go, like, my clients are there. But am I finding them? You have to be everywhere, right? If you're not showing up and going to the people, going to that oxygen, you're going to put the fire out, right? It doesn't matter how good your strategy is. It doesn't matter how driven and how strong that spark is and that turn on is. You have to go to the oxygen. So if you want a big fire that lasts, it requires oxygen for the fire to burn. And just like in our own body, that, to the extent that we can breathe, we can only take in as much oxygen as our capacity allows, our lung capacity, right? If we want to grow and expand our business, if we want to have more clients and more money coming in, we have to increase our capacity. And it's our ability to increase our capacity that really makes the strategies grow and build. And capacity, my definition of capacity is kind of different. It means taking any given action you have to take in your business from being a big deal to being no big deal. It's the journey from a big deal to no big deal. So I'm going to throw a question out to you guys to interact with me a little bit. So what is an action that you need to take in your business right now that feels like a big deal? You can write that down for yourself. And if you want to share this part, maybe you don't want to share that action. What is that action that feels like such a big deal? You need to do it. You know that it's going to really move the needle in your business, but it feels like a big deal. And this is a part that I want you to share with me. What happens when an action or a decision is a big deal? What happens to us when something's a big deal? Anybody?
Oh, so do you mean if you take it or if you don't take it? Or either or? Excuse me, sorry.
What happens when something's a big deal? Whether you do it or not.
Sometimes you stay frozen and don't take any action.
Right?
Because of fear or rejection.
Yep.
And but other times when you take the action, you get exactly what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. But I mean specifically around it being a big deal. When something's a big deal, What's unique about that? So Tina mentioned putting freebies out on a landing page, okay? So what happens when something's a big deal? So you can get frozen. There's fears that come up. We're afraid of rejection. For me, what used to be a big deal was doing a Facebook Live or Instagram, whatever social platform you use, live, doing a live video. Even doing a recorded video was terrifying for me. Believe it or not, I used to have massive social anxiety. And I would have to spend half an hour meditating, doing breath work, all this stuff just to calm down enough to do it. Right? It was such a big deal to do one little thing. And it's exhausting. Right? When something is a big deal, we have all kinds of stories around it, right? About what it means about me, how people are judging us, what's going to happen, is it going to work, is it going to suck, right? And because it's very important. Things that are a big deal are very important to our ego, right? It's very important to our sense of image and our sense of self, right? And so we have all kinds of stories around it. And what happens energetically? We contract. As Lana was saying, we can freeze. That's one way. We get paralyzed and we don't do anything because we're afraid of rejection. We can have fears and doubts and try to control the situation, right? Perfectionism is a way that we try to control. Like if I just make this lead magnet totally perfect and my website's totally perfect and this and that. My first video that I did, I think I spent like an hour designing like the backdrop and what I was gonna wear, you know, all this stuff, right? What else? There's lots of ways this can show up for us. So control, perfectionism, freezing and paralysis, overthinking and analysis paralysis too, right? We just continue to overanalyze it and redo it and working really hard, right? Putting a lot of energy into it, and something that could take 5 minutes, we spend 10 hours working on because it makes us feel like we're doing something, but we're not actually getting the outcome. And that's what leads to burnout, right? Actions that you need to take to create a six-figure business, like you can do it in like 20 hours a week. Like it doesn't have to take a lot of time and energy if you're doing what you need to do. And of course, hiding and avoidance is another way. Or we can invest all of our energy in resisting it, right? Being in battle with it. So there's lots of ways that we can react. Tina was saying, I also struggle with creating videos. Yeah, it's a very common experience. I can totally relate to that as well, right? So this is what I want you to look at, that, okay, you can have the strategy, you can have the desire. Hi, Telia. Nice to see you. You can have the desire, you can have the strategy, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but then it becomes about, okay, well, why am I not doing this? Or why am I having such a hard time following through or even getting the outcome that I'm looking for from that action that I'm taking, right? Because we can do an action, but if the energy behind it, there's some resistance there, there's some inhibition there, there's some fear there, it can sometimes throw it off, right? That the energy behind the action is just as important as the action itself. That's a writer downer. The energy behind the action is just as important, even, or maybe even more important than the actual action itself. So what happens in a nutshell, you could think of it in the big grand scheme of things, is what happens is when something is a really big deal, and remember, what's our definition of capacity? The process of taking an action or a decision that used to be a big deal and turning it into no big deal. From a big deal to no, it's no big deal, right? I can just now pick up my phone and just do a Facebook Live, and I'm done. You know, first take, it's good, right? That's what going to no big deal looks like, right? And so what gets in our way are two general categories: drama and distractions. We create so much drama. When something's a big deal, we create drama and we get distracted. We dance around. It's like all you have to do is go from A to B And then somehow it's like avoiding and then not quite getting there, right? And we create drama for ourselves. And drama plus distractions always leads to bad decisions. And what I mean by bad decision, because bad is a judgmental term, what I mean by that is decisions that waste your time, energy, and money. And that's not what you want, right? You want to have more money and energy and get more of your time back. So drama plus distractions lead to bad decisions, which are ones that waste your time, energy, and money. That's a writer downer, so I'm going to put it in the chat. So how do we remove those drama and distractions? So thinking for yourself, what comes up for you around this action? Is it drama? Is it distraction? Is it both? What can you do today to remove the drama and the distractions from your life so you can do it? Because your business can only grow as much as your capacity. Remember, we were talking about capacity. Capacity, we were talking about the resistance, the drama, the distractions, the fear. It creates contraction, right? We squeeze down and contract. And building your capacity is opening, right? Always be opening. You know that book, Always Be Closing? It's a classic sales book. I'm going to say the opposite. Always be opening. Because if we want to make more money, we have to take more actions. We have to take bigger actions. We have to make decisions faster. We have to take on more clients, right? The capacity to have more clients, the capacity to charge more. Somebody mentioned about, feeling guilty about raising your rates and charging more. That's a capacity that you have to build. And also to receive it, to let yourself have it. So Tina says the way to remove resistance or distractions and drama is to pick one thing that is the simplest. Yeah, focus on one thing. Okay. We have to increase our capacity to receive, to allow that money in. Otherwise, we can't make the sale. We won't close the sale if we don't feel like we're worthy to receive it. There has to be an energetic alignment there. Our capacity to reach bigger audiences, to get in front of more people so we can generate more leads, right? All of these capacities that we need to build. And the more we build that capacity, the more we become fully expressed. And to me, that is the ultimate. Full expression is the key to financial freedom. How fully expressed can we be? And it's a process, right? It's not something that happens overnight, that we need to step into the version of ourselves, whatever it is you want to make, whatever your dream income goal, 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, whatever it is, you have to become a different version of you that is even more authentic than you are right now, right? That is even more free and self-realized to be able to receive that. By getting rid of the drama and distractions and opening your capacity, increasing your capacity. And my definition of full expression is kind of a different one. So I think it's a very profound thing to contemplate. Full expression is the ability to only do what's required. No more, no less. It's like if all you have to do is deliver a talk and make an offer at the end to make the sales, can you do that? If all you have to do is make an invitation and invite someone to your discovery session, if all you have to do is then make an offer and close the sale, right? Can you just do what's required? No more, no less. And that's when your actions become no big deal. And that's when you can truly trust your ability to make more than enough money. When you can just do what you need to do, right? With my clients, their strategies are actually very simple, and they're very focused on their numbers and what they need to do. They know exactly the strategy, they know exactly how to do it, and then it just becomes about, okay, I just need to show up every day and do it. And they make the money, right? Just have to go one step in front of the other. And then when you do it repeatedly, when you implement a strategy and you see it work over and over again, then you really trust your ability to make money, right? You're like, I know if I do this, if I do X and Y and then Z, I'm going to make a certain amount of money every month. And then it becomes a rinse and repeat process. And to get to that place where you trust your ability to make money, it requires 3 levels of trust. Your ability to trust yourself, right? And again, all of this is a process I work on with my clients, developing that sense of safety, that I can be safe even in those scary, uncomfortable, and inconvenient things that I have to step into, that I'm still safe. And that knowing that our ego has a very limited idea of what we're capable of, right? We have a very limited idea. Oh, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. Who says? I used to think I sucked at selling. I used to think I couldn't be on video. That's not true. I just hadn't found it within myself yet, right? It's the adversity in life that pushes us to the edge of our capacity so we can really see what we're made of. Like even just recently, I was mentioning I just went on this trip to Europe. Well, I'd had this trip planned for a while, and then my business coach invited me to come to this event where I would go backstage and kind of shadow her through her event. So she's like, Larissa, you really need this. Like you would benefit so much from this. And guess what? It was another international flight less than a week before my next flight. And so I was like I literally had a visceral, like I thought I was going to throw up at the thought of 2 international flights in less than a week. Like that's a lot, you know, just managing life and business and everything. And you know what? I did it. And I pulled it off and it was fine because I didn't know my capacity. I didn't know I had it in me to pull it off. It's so easy in life to just have a visceral reaction of fear, of doubt, and think, okay, it must be wrong then. It must be bad. No, it's actually, that's your doorway. That's your doorway to your growth and your capacity. So the first is trusting yourself. The second is trusting the process. Culturally, we're taught to doubt the positive things in life. Have you noticed that? We never question the negative things that happen. We never say, do you really hate me? We always doubt it when people say, I love you, right? Do you really love me? I had a client just recently have her biggest sales month ever. You know what she says to me? She's like, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe this is a one-time thing and it's not going to happen again, right? We doubt the positive. We doubt what we're stepping into. So what if, rather than seeing the things that show up, the events that show up in your life right now as a problem or an obstacle, what if you saw it as the way? What if this is actually my doorway to success? So keep showing up, keep doing the reps, not without judging yourself. And then the third is trusting that the universe always has your back. That as smart as you are, the universe is even more intelligent. And that very intelligent friend of yours is on your side and wants you to win, is supporting you to win, is literally bringing you opportunities, bringing you clients, bringing you connections so that you can fulfill that success. But you have to be open to it. That's where the capacity part comes in, right? You have to be open to seeing it, recognizing it, and acting on it when all those opportunities show up for you. Because when you're really fully present and connected to your body and connected to the present moment, you can see that right in front of you right now are the exact steps that you need to take, right? Everything that you need to know to move forward is right in front of you. It's available to you. So I have a question for you. How much money do you think you would be making in your business every month if you woke up every day deeply motivated and inspired to serve your calling, knowing exactly what actions to take, and trusting your ability to take the bigger, bolder actions that allow you to create unprecedented results? How much do you think you would be making every month? $10K. Okay, double it, right? From if you're at 5K right now, 10K is a good next leap, next jump. Okay, Great. Any questions? Take a moment, and I want to share a free gift with you, so I want to make sure we have time for that before we wrap up. But does anybody have any questions before I share my gift? Tina says, I need to hear all of what Larissa just said about trust again. How can I get the recording? I
Yeah,
believe.
for sure. We could get the recording out. If you'd like a copy of the recording, just send Kylie a message, and I'll put her email in the chat. So anybody that joined after the presentation started or just want to kind of get a recap of everything, I'll put the email in the chat.
Any questions? No? Everybody's good? I'd love to hear your takeaways then. I'd love to hear what is the thing that stood out for you the most from what I shared with you so far. I think Telia's trying to unmute herself. Remember to trust, okay? Yeah, there's a very big deficit in faith and trust in the world, right? We have to cultivate that. It's a process. And it's something that I do with my clients, cultivating that safety, cultivating that sense of trust. And then also, but you have to have the mechanics working too, right? You have to have the right strategy and structure for it to work. I like the fire analogy and needing to keep all three parts going. Yeah. Anyone else want to share takeaways?
I'm just going to say, Larissa, is like all the stuff that you said, like just, yeah, was great. I mean, also listening to you say all this stuff, because it is the stuff that you know, that you already know, that, well, most of it that you already know, but it's like kick in the pants sort of to kind of, get things and motivated to, you know what I mean? So yeah, as a takeaway, I got a lot of information and motivation to it.
Well, that's the thing. It is built inside of us, right? Like we all have a calling. I didn't need to tell you that, right? You were born with it. We all have a capacity, but it's part of the process is, well, one, we need to have a strategy that actually works to make money, like a fast path to cash. Like each of us need an efficient strategy. We need all the pieces to work. And yeah, none of us, I think, are any strangers to the notion of self-sabotage. But I hope that looking at it this way in terms of building our capacity and realizing like it's something you can't avoid, right? We all have, it doesn't matter what stage of growth you're at, how much money you're already making, how successful you are, you're always going to face doubts. You're always going to have an edge. You're always going to have fears and doubts and things that come up as you're stepping into your next level. And that's something that you have to work at, right? And building that capacity so that you can create more and scale and all that kind of thing, right? It's just a practical reality of being a business owner.
And Holly had a comment. She said, I think that these webinars are so good to remind ourselves that we are a bunch of us. That there are a bunch of us in the same place doing the same things, even those we think are far ahead of us, you're still feeling the same feels. So thank you.
Yeah. I hope it was relatable, that this is why I do what I do too, is like creating a business never come easily to me. Like I had to learn through the school of hard knocks, and that's why I'm equipped to teach this, right? Like I was living on $6 a week as a naturopath, right? I had no idea how to run a business, no idea how to make money. I had so many money blocks, and here I am now, right? And so like there isn't a hang up or a question or an issue that you face in your business that I haven't had to work through. And that's what makes me equipped to do this, right? So I know I've shared a lot with you today, and I know that some of you are here because you want to attract more clients, you want to make more money, you want to make money consistently, or maybe you're even working too hard to get there. And it's affecting your confidence, it's affecting your energy, your well-being. You wish you were further ahead than you are. And it's impacting the lifestyle and the vacations and your ability to do all the things you want to do by having that money freedom that you really aspire to, right? And I'm sure you probably still have questions about, like, how do I maintain that spark? How do I what strategy should I be using, or what do those pieces look like? Like, how do I really create an irresistible offer, or have messaging that really works, and the sales process that's simplified, and all that kind of stuff? And how do I increase my capacity to let more money in so I don't feel guilty about charging more and selling those high ticket offers and all those kinds of things? I'm sure that these are practical questions that you're having at this point. So as a thank you gift for having me speak today in front of this group, this beautiful group, I wanted to invite you to an opportunity to receive even more support with me. So today I'm offering my Land 3 Ideal Clients Now session. It's a $497 value, and for the first 5 people that click the link, you're going to get it for free. And it includes a self-assessment and a complimentary one-on-one call with me. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. So for the first 5 of you, you can click the link, book a time with me sometime in the next few days, and we're going to deep dive on your business. We're going to look at exactly where you're at, what your goals are, what your obstacles are, and I'm going to lay out a roadmap for you, the exact steps you need to take to hit your income goals as quickly and easily as possible, and land 3 ideal clients as soon as next week. So I promise you in this session, you're going to identify something that's absolutely going to change what's possible for you in your business. So this is your opportunity to grab that. One of the signs of increasing your capacity is your ability to say yes, your ability to make decisions quickly, to be the first in line, to take action. So I'm happy to offer this for you and to be able to spend that time and deep dive with you and really work together more closely. So thank you so much for having me today. Anything else, Lori, before we wrap up?
No, I nothing from me. If anybody has any questions or anything like that.
Any other questions before we go?
Yeah, no. If you wanted to just drop your email maybe in the chat, if you wanted to, then but anyways, I just wanted to say thanks so much for providing this information to us. I think it sparked a lot of energy with people and everything like that. So thank you. We really appreciate you presenting today. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody for joining us today. It was great to have you. And anyways, I wish everybody a great rest of the day.
Okay.
And Larissa did put her email in the chat too. So if anybody wants to reach out.
Yeah. The best way though is just take advantage of this free session, right? Like I don't offer these all the time. What better way to talk further than to get that opportunity to have a free session with me live and ask your questions and get that support. I'm happy to offer it.
Thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Larissa.
Okay.